or other for food during the break. Alright. Hemostasis. Hemostasis. I told you that hemostasis is different from homeostasis. While homeostasis refers to the maintenance of the body internal environment, hemostasis deals with the mechanism that helps us to stop bleeding from an injured tissue or vessel. Hemostasis. So, right, hemostasis simply refers to the stoppage or the arrest of bleeding. Hemostasis refers to the stoppage or arrest or inhibition of bleeding. It occurs in three main stages. Hemostasis occurs in three main stages. The first one is what is known as vasoconstriction, also known as vascular spasm. The first stage, I said, is vasoconstriction, also known as vascular spasm. The second stage is the formation of platelets blood. And the third stage is the coagulation of blood. So we want to look at these stages of hemostasis, one after the other, beginning with vasoconstriction. Vasoconstriction. The slide explains everything about the stages of hemostasis. Beginning with the first stage, which is vasoconstriction. So, what is vasoconstriction or vascular spasm? When you hear the word vascular spasm, it simply means or refers to the strong contraction of the smooth muscles found in the blood vessel and strong constriction of the blood vessels themselves. Two things. I said vasoconstriction or vascular spasm simply refers to the strong contraction of the smooth muscles in the blood vessel. It also refers to the strong constriction of the blood vessels themselves. So when the muscles, or let me just put it in a very simple for you to understand. Muscles contract, but blood vessels constrict. So there are two things. Because sometimes when you observe that students use contraction for blood vessels, if you are reporting or writing a work or an exam and you use contraction for blood vessels, then you are using the wrong terminology. vessels constrict, smooth muscles or muscles in general contract. Alright? So vascular spasm is the contraction of smooth muscles found in the blood vessels and the constriction of the blood vessel. So what mechanism can lead to vasoconstriction? First, an injury to the blood vessel or a tissue will expose the collagen within that injured site and also damage the endothelium. An injury to a blood vessel or tissue exposes the collagen and damages the endothelium. Platelets will then adhere to the exposed collagen. I told you one of the properties of platelets is to adhere. Alright? So whenever there is damage to a blood vessel or a tissue and the collagens are exposed, platelets becomes, in fact they adhere or they attach themselves to that exposed collagen. And that attachment or adhesion of platelets to collagen is mediated by the von Willebrand factor. Here, this von Willebrand factor is acting as a catalyst to facilitate the attachment of platelets to collagen. Now, the next thing that happens is that the platelets now get converted from their inactive state to active states. As soon as platelets adhere or attach themselves to the exposed collagen, they automatically becomes activated. The activation of platelets will lead to this secretion of a substance known as serotonin. The activation of platelets will then lead to the secretion of a substance known as serotonin. I told you there are platelet activators and platelet inhibitors of vasoconstrictor metabolites and vasodilator metabolites. Alright? Serotonin is a vasoconstrictor metabolite, and it is this secretion of serotonin that will now cause the contraction of the smooth muscles within the blood vessels, and it also stimulates the constriction of the blood vessels, causing them to narrow, and when that happens, it reduces bleeding. Secretion of serotonin is responsible for the contraction of the smooth muscles in the blood vessels and the constriction, tightening narrowing of the blood vessels to reduce blood from gushing out from the injured vessel. So all of these simply explains stage 1 of blood coagulation, which is vasospasm or vasoconstriction. Any question after this? No. You guys are very intelligent. So I wasn't expecting a question. I will be surprised if someone has a question. So stage 2. Stage 2 is the formation of platelet flow. Stage 2 is the formation of platelet plug. Remember that platelets at this stage is activated, so they are all in their active form. The same platelet that secretes serotonin will also cause the secretion of A, D, P, and thromboxane A2. ADP simply means what? Adenosine diphosphate. Adenosine diphosphate. So the activation in stage 2, the activation of platelets causes secretion of adenosine diphosphate and thromboxane A2. These two substances will begin to attract or mobilize more platelets to the injured sites. I repeat, the activation or secretion of ATP and thromboxane A2 causes mobilization of more platelets to the injured site. So more platelets begins to move to the injured site. And that is simply known as platelet aggregation. So they aggregate, they gather themselves at the injured site. The attraction of more platelets to this injured site, is caused by ATP and thromboxane A2. So, why platelets have gathered themselves around the injured site, they together form a platelet plug, which further reduces bleeding from the injured tissue or vessel. And that simply explains stage 2 of blood coagulation. Any question? No, sir. Okay. Question? Does anyone have a question? No. Good. The next stage is stage 3, which is blood coagulation proper. Stage 3 is the stage of blood coagulation. There are several reactions and factors secreted to, cause the blood to finally coagulate. which will then lead to stoppage of bleeding from the injured side. Alright? So this slide shows you everything about blood coagulation. A lot of chemical reactions. Clotting factors reacting and activating themselves within circulation and moving themselves around the injured site to stop the bleeding. Okay, before we dive into blood coagulation proper, there are certain clotting factors you must know and have all of them at your fingertips. These 13 clotting factors react with themselves to finally stop bleeding from wounds. So right here, you have the 13 clotting factors, 13 of them. So you see, I have listed all of them for you to make this very, very easy, from 1 to 13. Alright? So, factor 1 simply refers to what? What? Factor 1 is what? Fibrinogen. Factor 2 is what? You can't see. Oh my God. It has to be clear. Is it clear? Okay. I was thinking again, factor 1 is what? If you still can't see the board, just come and borrow my glasses. Factor 1 is what? Okay, factor 2. Don't bite your tongue. Factor 2 is what? Factor 2 is what? You still can't see. It's very clear. Prothrombin. Alright, factor 2 is prothrombin. Factor 3 is what? Factor 3 is what? Thromboplastin. Okay. Factor 4 is what? Factor 5 is what? Factor 5 is what? Okay. Factor 6 is what? Factor 6 is what? Huh? Presence have not been. So that is what you write in the exam. Factor 6 is what? Presence has not been proved. That's what you will tell us. You write it in the exam. Yes. That factor may not have been confirmed, but it has a name. Alright? So factor 6 is known as hypothetical factor. Hypothetical factor. Alright? Factor 7. Factor 7 is known as what? Stable factor. Factor 8. Factor 9 is what? Factor 9 is what? They will shout that one because they love Christmas. Factor 10 is what? Stuart. Okay. Factor 11 is what? Okay. Factor 12. Factor 12 is what? Factor 12 is what? Factor 12 is what? Jesus. Factor 12 is what? Some of you have serious problem of reading and pronunciation. Nigerian factor. Okay. Factor 13 is what? Fibrin stabilizing factor. Alright. So you need to know these 13 clotting factors. You must know them. So that even when you wake up from sleep and someone asks you, what is factor 12? You will just mention the name. What is factor 6? You will just mention the name. Alright? There are methods we normally use. Many years ago, in medical school in 1901, many of you are not born then. 1901. Have you been born then? You. 1901, when I was in the university. There are methods we normally use. We normally use to recall the clotting factors. Alright? So you need to go and get methods that will help you recall these clotting factors. Mnemonics. Right? Good. Like those days we used to sing, foolish people try climbing long, hypothetical slope after Christmas. Some people have fallen. 13 of them. Did you get that? How will you get it? That was what we used then to recall these clotting factors. So you go and get the one that is suitable for you. If you're in medical school, you must learn how to recall certain things on your own. Not cramming. Alright? I said those days we used to sing, foolish people try climbing long hypothetical slope after Christmas. Some people have fallen. So with that, foolish will represent what? Fibrinogen. People will represent what? Anyways. And so on and so forth. So, let's now begin the lecture proper. I hope you can see the slide. Yes. Yes. It's clear. Yes. It is these 13 clotting factors that react together to form the final blood clots on injured sites. Alright? So, blood coagulation occurs in 3 stages. Blood coagulation occurs in 3 stages. A is the formation of prothrombin activator. I say blood coagulation occurs in 3 stages or phases. The first stage here is the formation of prothrombin activator. The second stage is the conversion of prothrombin to thrombin. Alright? So if you look at this area, you see prothrombin being converted to thrombin. That is, prothrombin here is inactive. So it is being converted to thrombin, which is the active state. And then the last stage is the conversion of fibrinogen to fibrin. Conversion of fibrinogen to fibrin. Alright? So blood coagulation occurs in those 3 stages. The formation of prothrombin activator, conversion of prothrombin to thrombin, and the conversion of fibrinogen to fibrin. There are 2 main pathways of blood coagulation. There are 2 main pathways of blood coagulation. The first pathway is known as the intrinsic pathway, while the second pathway is known as the extrinsic pathway. I said there are 2 main pathways of blood coagulation. Number 1, the intrinsic pathway, and number 2 is the extrinsic pathway. So let's take the first pathway, the intrinsic pathway. An injury to the tissue or a blood vessel, as previously mentioned, damages the what? Endothelium. Injury to an injured tissue or vessel damages the endothelium, and it also exposes the what? The collagen. Injury to a tissue damages the endothelium and exposes the collagen. When this happens, let's say inactive factor 12. The inactive factor 12 becomes converted to active factor 12. And that reaction is mediated or catalyzed by kinogen. Alright? The conversion of the inactive factor 12 to active factor 12 is mediated or catalyzed by kinogens. Now, the next thing that happens is that the active factor 12, look, active factor 12 will now convert inactive factor 11 to active factor 11. Active factor 12 converts inactive factor 11 to active factor 11, mediated by the same kinogen. When the factor 11 becomes activated, or the activation of factor 11 will in turn convert inactive factor 9 to an active factor 9, mediated by calcium. Calcium is factor what? Calcium is factor what? 4. Beauty. Brilliant. Alright. So the active factor 9 will in turn convert inactive factor 10 to an active factor 10. Are we following? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are following. People are brilliant, so. I said inactive factor 9 becomes activated to active factor 9. And factor 9 is being activated by active factor what? Active factor what? Are you sure? You guys look confused. Look. Let's take it from this beginning. Inactive factor 12 becomes activated to active factor 12. The active factor 12 converts inactive factor 11 to active factor 11. Active factor 11 converts inactive factor 9 to active factor 9. Active factor 9 converts inactive factor 10 to active factor 10. And then this active factor 10 stimulates the activation of prothrombin. The active factor 10 will now stimulate the activation of prothrombin. Prothrombin upon activation will now convert you have prothrombin activator will convert inactive prothrombin to what? Prothrombin. Prothrombin activator converts inactive prothrombin to thrombin. When this happens, thrombin will now convert inactive fibrinogen to an active fibrinogen. And this active fibrinogen will now form a loose strand of fibrin. It is this loose strand of fibrin that will now be converted to a tight strand of fibrin.